What's going on, friends? Welcome back to another New World video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different on the channel, at least if you're more recent to my YouTube channel. I know a lot of people with New World Aeternum, console players, Xbox, PS5, you guys have just been seeing guides and builds, but occasionally I do these react videos where I watch the New World devs talk about what's happening with the game. Now, it's been a long time, spoilers. It's been about June since we last saw one of these videos, but they used to very frequently do these update videos where they would talk about what's coming to the game, what we can expect, what's currently happening, and, you know, just generally give us some information. But it's been radio silence up until now, so very excited to see that a video is back on the menu. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll link it in the description down below. But yeah, let's see what the team have to say about New World. I feel like there's some exploits, there's some bugs. I want to know what 2025 in general looks like, so let's go, everybody. Here it is.
Welcome to the New World Aeternum post-launch dev update. I'm Scott, the game director on New World Aeternum. I'm here with Dave, the creative director.
Dave.
Dan, give a nod, the design lead, and Katie, the live lead.
Katie.
Before we get going, oh my gosh, we launched.
We did it.
We've seen people pile in the beaches. It's been awesome. It has been so fun getting the console players interacting with the PC players and watching all that fun stuff. Any stories you all want to share about the launch?
I mean, I really enjoyed seeing the raid. Like the first time seeing that completed was epic.
Raid is really cool.
People are optimizing it. It's like
Hive of Gorgons is cool.
Yeah, mine is related to that because we just saw the
They're looking pretty
first
fresh
sub 30 minutes and actually first sub 20-minute raid run, which is really awesome, but also means we're going to make the next raid really hard.
The next raid
being on console, so it's my living room. The whole family gets to play. It's really fun.
The response has been great. Thank you all for coming and checking it out. Like, I can't tell you how exciting it is for all of us to put this out there and see everyone playing it and giving us the feedback. So like we're really appreciative. Couldn't be happier. So I know some of you are joining us for the first time. And what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about where we plan to go with New World in the future.
Yes!
We're going to start with Season 7 so we can walk you through all of the cool things coming out in Season 7.
Oh my god, I could cry, chat. Are they actually, this isn't a bait, they're actually going to give us some stuff? Okay, or is it just going to be like a graphic that says new things? All right, I'll move my camera, it's covering some stuff.
You know, sneak peek, they're pretty freaking cool. Beyond that, we have this thing that we're going to talk about called in development. So these are a bunch of features that we're working on.
Okay.
We are not ready to commit to a timeline, but we want to give you that insight and get some feedback from you, which will help us prioritize which ones come first and where we go.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about some things that are in the early ideation phase. This is where we just want to get your sense which of these you like more than others, because this is where you can have a big impact on where we go with the game this year.
Sounds good.
But with that, you know, Dan, you're going to take us through this.
Yeah, so next we're gonna dive into these things one by one. We'll bring in some other folks to the table and gobble gobble, let's go.
Gobble gobble.
Hello everybody.
Cool
so
transition.
Now we are joined by 3 new faces at the table. We have 3 lead designers. We have Joel of Systems and Seasons. We have JR of Combat and Modes. And we have Chad of AI and Encounters.
AI Chad.
And we together are going to be talking about some things.
Hold on, I gotta pause. What is this? All right, Season 7, next season. So we got Seasonal World 1 PvP. What the heck? Okay. New Outpost Rush Map Preview. Mutated Expedition upgrades. M3 and matchmaking. New rewards, unified mutations. New daily solo trials. Hopefully they're going to improve those solo trials because the rewards are kind of crappy. Combat balance updates every season. New artifacts and perks every season. Seasonal events, world boss. All right, those bottom 3, kind of the standard stuff, but those top 4 look pretty exciting. M3 matchmaking, that's going to be, if you thought M2 was messy, chat. Oh man, I'm into the top 2 though. New Outpost Rush Map and Seasonal World PvP. All right, dude. What is the preview? Does that mean we're not actually able to play it until Season 8? Probably.
Things that are in our next season, which is coming at the top of next year.
Okay.
Obviously, we just got done shipping a big console game, and you know we're getting back up and running into content and feature development. And we'll take you through one at a time. The first one being something we've been talking about for a long time. Finally have, super excited. Joel, do the honors. Tell us about Seasonal Worlds.
Yeah, this is one that I'm personally really excited about and something that I really have been invested in.
Is this what we've been saying? We're saying that, you know, every 3 months there should be like a new server, and they're going to do it? They're actually going to do it?
So Seasonal Worlds are a season-based world that will last for the time of the season, so roughly around 3 months. that has unique rule sets where we really flip things on their head. The goal being that we provide players with a really unique experience that breaks the rules, that in the case, and I'll talk
like
about it in a little
PvP
bit,
always on.
maybe PvP is always on these rules or on these worlds.
You gave it away.
I did give it away.
Is that what the first one is?
As you know, the first server, not as you know, but as you know now, the first server is PvP focused.
Oh my
and that's
God.
something that's near and dear to me. I've played a lot of games over the years that I
we get
really
cool
enjoy
skins?
that risk-reward feeling. The first server is at level 15. You'll be fighting other players. We've created a unique set of item and gear that you'll be able to craft. It's very heavily crafting focused, which I also really like.
Interesting.
Where the player will feel powerful in this gear, but the risk that comes with this gear that you'll be able to craft is that it drops on death, that it has durability. We're pulling back some of those old mechanics that don't exist in the normal world.
Wow.
Resources and the gear.
Yes.
All drop on death.
The resources, well, the new resources to craft our special new really kind of super items that are on par with, say, artifacts in this server,
Damn,
those
dude.
drop on death.
Yep.
But you'll be able to craft some more basic gear that's still pretty high gear score with some more basic resources like iron, like timber, and
Dude, I'm so surprised they went with this because I know there's like a very, like, there's people in the community who are like crying for PvP content, but my assumption was that Amazon always catered to PvE because there was a lot more PvE players. There's like a good chunk of New World's player base who just don't really care for PvP. So I'm really surprised that they're going with this. I'm hyped for it. Like, we're definitely going to play on that server. But I am surprised that they're like doing such a like a hardcore PvP thing. That's pretty cool, with like dropping gear on death as well. Holy flip.
hide. You'll be able to craft your normal gear that's still really high gear score, but you'll need to wear that special gear that's dropped on death to go get these new resources to craft these really cool big items.
That gear also, like, you should talk about, like, we went pretty crazy with it, right?
It's nuts.
Because it can drop on death. Like,
I wanna see it.
We did things that we normally would be kind of leery balance.
Did you mention that it breaks too?
It does break.
Yes.
But to JR's point, we took some of these pieces of gear and we really pushed the limit on them to make them feel special, to make them feel like there's impact. These should feel on par to artifact items, if not farther in some cases.
Very farther.
Yeah, yeah. So
whoever ups these items is going to be like god tier then. So this is going to kind of be like a streamer server where you just, so you guys are going to make this armor for me and then I'm going to get pocket healed all the time, right? That's what's going to happen, yeah? I run around with the mega armor, just getting healed all the time so nobody can loot it from me. It does sound a little interesting. Cool. I think they said something about level 15 or level 50. I don't know. He said there was some sort of mention of a specific level. We'll have to go back and play that in a second.
really the goal is how crazy is it going to be? How much are we going to shake up the meta? How much of a different experience can we
It was level
provide
50.
to you?
So is that like the cap then? You
While
can only
still
get to
some
level
of
50.
that familiar feeling, that
Interesting.
core of the game that is so much fun. So we can kind of experiment and again, find what's fun to you or fun to me or fun to each other. I'm really looking forward to what we can do with these systems.
It feels a lot like the original New World Alpha,
Yeah.
but with all of the
Yeah.
QOL and content that it now has.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
We should also reiterate, like, so it's a brand new server, like, that literally wipes every season. So you also get that new player experience
Yep.
every season.
Yep.
If you
Total
like
economy
that.
You get
reset.
those
Right.
hordes of players coming in from the beach. You get the camps on the ground. You're going to have a lot of like death and maiming getting to the settlements. That's my jam. I'm a
Oh, so you're gonna be able to kill people at like on the starting beach? Interesting. This is probably gonna be a really toxic server, and after like a month, that it'll just be like filled with like disgusting tryhards. But it'll be fun for like 3 days. My understanding is though, this is just the first seasonal one, so I don't think it's always gonna be a PvP thing, chat. Just with the first one, they're going with PvP always won. It's probably gonna be gross, but it'll be fun at the same time. We're definitely gonna have to like get together or band together ASAP.
somewhat of aggressive player, so I'm excited to see how players are going to treat this, how they're going to form up and protect each other, but also potentially rob each other
And
from
also,
their gear.
it feeds into the territory system too. It brings those big stakes to this. Crafters are now like a necessary part of your war machine as you take over the server. It's all there.
And there's a lot of little fine-tuning quality of life
Okay.
tweaks that we're also looking at as well. So like, I know you just did the MSQ. We were looking at ways to make it so you can completely level by crafting if you want to.
Yeah.
Again, we'll have more details on these things in the future, but we're really trying to fine-tune these little experiences to feel like you can play how you want, and that it's, again, slightly familiar, but completely different when you play through it. And I'm really excited to be bringing these servers to you.
I'm just excited by the concept in general. Like the PvP always on. I know it's probably going to be tumultuous and it'll be like an interesting test bed because I'm sure there's like PvP players who are screaming for this, but then we'll prove that it kind of doesn't work because it'll just end up being too toxic. But we'll see. But I think the general idea that every 3 months there's like a new server with like some sort of special mutation on it almost is going to be pretty cool. I am excited for that. I think that's a good thing. Some people say that we don't have enough players for that. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I do like the idea of every 3 months is almost like a fresh start with a slight twist. Sounds good. All right, let's keep going.
It's a whole new frontier. I mean, it's changing up all the time too, which is great.
Yes, we have, I can't wait to tell you about all the ideas we have for future ones. And of course, they become places to experiment with things that we might bring into the main game. But that's not all. One of the other things that we're very excited to bring you, JR, I won't upstage you. What are we bringing?
Okay, so
Here we go.
we know OPR is one of our most popular modes.
OPR, by the way, again, for brand new players, OPR is Outpost Rush. It's the 20 versus 20 game mode you can do from level 60 onwards. OPR, Outpost Rush.
And we've had the same map since launch, pretty much, right?
Long
It came
time.
out shortly after that. So I'm excited to announce that we are in development on a new OPR map, and we're going to actually have it be in a preview form for Season 7.
Oh my
We're going to have
God.
it on for a weekend, and we want to get the player feedback on it. And so
It's real.
you guys, we want you to help us to develop the map. We want to make sure that this map is lives up to the expectations that you have, having waited for so long.
Nice.
And later in the video, we'll talk more about it, but I mean, this is just the beginning, right? We're spinning up multiple maps.
Yeah, absolutely. The modes pipeline is in full gear now. We're going to be making new game modes and new
Nice.
maps and
Good.
for existing modes. And yeah, this new OPR map is kind of like the first one out of the gate.
Good.
We wanted to show
Very
it to
good.
you, even though it's not potentially not fully ready, again, to get that feedback, but also we're just so excited.
More
Can't
game
wait.
modes,
Next
more
on the
maps.
list is kind of a few small things that we're doing for mutations, which are expeditions in the game have normal and mutated levels. So for M3, which is the highest level, we're adding these to the instanced matchmaking system. In order to make sure this goes smoothly, we are unifying our mutations. Tell us about that, Chad.
Yeah, so big ticket item here is that all the currently active mutated expeditions will now share the same mutation. So elemental, promotions, curses, all those will be the same across all of them, which means a lot less re-gearing.
Oh, so they're all going to be fire? Is that what he's saying? They're all fire, they're all frost, they're all nature? Is that what he means? So you just have 3 mutations and they're all fire mutations. Okay. I think I like that. Yeah, I think that's good because you don't need to keep changing your gems for like M3 then because you kind of need to do that at M3. You need to like have all the different gems. Sounds pretty good, I think. I'm still not convinced if you're going to be able to do M3 with random players cross server, but that's a good change, I think.
Gemming your gear, and hopefully
Also, they need to generally give a reason to do M3 because I feel like it's too much effort right now for not enough rewards, but
just more time spent fighting and having a good time collecting loots.
And then the other thing we're doing is we're increasing the quality of the rewards in the M3s.
Yes. So we're looking at adding crafting materials into mutated expeditions, as well as in raids that together, when they're combined, you'll be able to craft new 725s. So this will be an alternative source and give
725?
meaning to want to go back into these expeditions and make sure that you're actually having fun in the content you want.
Wow.
We're going to continue looking at that and improving it. For now, we like where it's at, and we think that it'll give more players a reason to go visit this content.
So adding more options to
Yes.
your endgame content.
Yes.
And along those same lines, we're also adding 2 new daily solo trials to the roster.
3 new solo trials.
my mistake. Are
you buffing the rewards
So
on
we've
those?
got we're adding Mother's Dream, which is Emperor Zhu, Tempest Mind, which is Isabella, and Daichi Saito. So that's adding to our roster. So you should be seeing those in your list every day.
Awesome. Thanks,
Yeah,
Chad.
dude.
And then to round out the season, we have a few things that we like to do every season, starting with combat balance updates.
we're buffing fire staff. Here we go.
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, this is something we do every season. This season, some of the things that we focused on was time to kill. Something we've been seeing in PvP a lot. The fight's going a little too long. So we're making some adjustments to consumables and some of the perks. And then we're also looking at balance around target lock. Target lock's,
Target lock, you say?
Yeah. we turned it on in PvP for the Aeternum launch. And we've been keeping an eye on the feedback. And
by the way, thanks
data.
again for all the feedback right before launch as we went through beta. It was very helpful, and we made some changes. And
yeah, absolutely. We did tone it down quite a bit from what it was in beta, and we're going to be continuing to tune things. One of the changes that's coming up in season 7 is actually the blunderbuss was a problem. We had nerfed the damage going into launch. Now we've reversed that, and instead we've replaced it with some extra inaccuracy in target lock as kind of a balancing factor. Yeah. And we're going to be continuing to make tweaks like that.
Yeah, I mean, could I just suggest that you just turn it off in PvP and then you don't have to spend so much time trying to finagle it? I feel like it was really, really trying to make it work when it was like, I just felt like it was fine without it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like toxic or whatever, but I just think like it doesn't need to be there in PvP, personally. That's my opinion. In PvE, fine, sure. But yeah.
In the future.
Yep, absolutely.
This is a good video, though.
There's
I
also
like
new artifacts, new perks.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be introducing 8 new artifacts in season 7.
Okay, so we got a musket, we got a rapier, we got a fire staff, we got a bow. Interesting. So there's going to be another so yeah, these are only one-offs currently because we only have boltcaster, we only have inferno, we only have finisher, we only have what's the name of the musket again, chat? I can't remember. Mechanic.
7 of them will be weapon.
Life staff, and is that a void gauntlet or an ice gauntlet? I think that's an ice gauntlet.
And there's one accessory, which is an earring.
Earrings.
And yeah, there's some interesting.
Oh, ice gauntlet and void gauntlet. Okay, cool.
Interesting combos that are going to come out of that.
There's an ice gauntlet in there that I really enjoy. It's a really cool ability on the gauntlet that lets me, when I ice tune, give me a large amount of regen at the end of that. So I'm excited to try out and see what I can actually get away with that, or if I still die. But we'll see how it goes.
It'll be good for those tank builds.
Yeah, well, that's his nickname.
That's a fun Joel Trouble Clift. And then, well, why don't you bring us home with talking about the seasonal events?
Yeah, so we're doing some refreshes on a few events. We're looking at Legacy of Crassus and upping the rewards a little bit more meaty rewards past level 700. Same with Siege of Sulfur. And then we're going to bring a little bit more rewards into Rabbit Revenge. That's a little bit more fun costumey. Maybe a little bit of trolley in there as well. We'll see how it goes. Hoping to get those events to console players for the first time as well, as they haven't seen these events.
So that's everything in next season. We're very excited about the OPR map.
Yeah.
Very excited about seasonal worlds.
Absolutely.
More details about both coming soon. And remember, we're just getting started.
Hey, honestly, man, that's pretty good. I think Season 7's looking pretty decent, actually. The PvP server, I guess it would have been nice if they did something with the island, and maybe do like there's a new Outpost Rush map. There is like a PvP server, which will be fun for a week until it gets kind of toxic. Bringing M3, making it important, allowing you to get 725 gear score from M3 and cross server with it as well. And making the gems like the same across M3. It seems pretty good. Now I think they're going to talk more about the future. Yeah, I think next up is like going forward, like after this now. I think it was just a test Outpost Rush map, chat, so it's not a full thing.
This is looking good. Great to see it.
Thank you, Octo. Thank you so much for the 39 months with the Prime. All right, let's keep going, friends. Let's keep on going. Let's see what's happening. So they said next section is like some things that are going to be coming up, but they're not finalized, and then it's like experimental after that.
Now, let's talk about what's in development.
All right, hold on. Sorry, immediately pause again. New seasonal worlds, yeah. Territory system improvements. Okay, pickup wars, so like casual wars, very good. End game progression. Wraparound XP, Umbrals V2, they're bringing Umbral Shard back. Okay, kind of wild. Crafting improvements, new PvP modes, new mode maps. Invasion difficulty, endgame reward improvements, invasion mode with matchmaking, endgame reputation systems, barbers, global storage. Nice, it's global storage and barbershop. Sounds like they're doing a lot to focus on the endgame. Good, finally, holy flip, an endgame focused update. Barbershop will be like the ability to change your character's appearance. So you can reroll your character's appearance. And the global storage is also like a huge request as well. All right, let's hear more about this. This is like Christmas come early, chat. Holy sausages. Animated Glitter, thank you so much for the 3 months with the Prime.
So in development is somewhere in a more midterm timeline. We're definitely looking into stuff, but there's still plenty of room to discover. And yeah, so I mean, there's tons on this list in no particular order. We can start with
Invasion.
Thank you.
Why I like Invasion
Dave, send
as
me
something that we're working on is because I think it's super cool content. It's sort of unique to New World, this idea of battling hordes of people. But, you know, the content is a little limited in terms of participation because it's only a set time. It can only take this many people.
Yeah, thank you, Luke, for the 2 months with the Prime. Yeah, Invasions are a
Finally,
bit...
I can get a haircut. D.
Thank you for the 2 months with the Prime. Invasions, yeah, you can only do them at a certain time of day. I haven't done a single invasion on my fresh start character yet, and I suspect that's probably the same with most of you guys as well, right? How many people in chat have done an invasion on fresh? Probably not many. Okay, come on, let's go. Sorry, I wind it back just slightly.
But, you know, the content is a little limited in terms of participation because it's only a set time.
Yeah, most people in chat haven't done an invasion.
So what if we turn this into a mode? Right? Like, I think we're starting to make more and more modes. The activity screen is a great place to sort of like, what do I feel like doing? So like, let's get Invasion into a mode. And I think once you start going in that frame of mind, I'm sure lots of things can like, could we add some more enemies? Could we add maybe mutations? What happens to the rewards? Like lots of ideas start to come up.
Drunk, thank you for the
Yeah,
T1.
definitely like adding more variety to the mode. Like we have all these different kinds of corrupted enemies that we aren't using in the mode currently. So like bringing those in and like having it vary up like per season even, like be awesome.
Yeah, it's great content. I mean, speaking of modes, I mean, that's one of the things that your team's looking into more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually prototyping lots of different kinds of game modes, things
Capture
you
the
might have
flag.
seen in other games, like Capture the Flag.
Yes!
That we think would actually work really well in our game.
Yes.
Also, like a Battle Royale mode, like a lot of those systems that make up Battle
Interesting.
Royale already exist in the game.
Oh my God,
So
chat.
like, you know, mashing them together,
I'm going back to
creating
Realm
a queuable
Royale.
mode for that.
BR and New
And then
World.
also like so kind of like a framework for new modes might be like doing like more of a seasonal type experience where every season there's like a featured game mode for that season and we vary it up like every season.
I would still say they should focus on evergreen content that's always relevant in the game. I'm concerned that like Amazon spends too much time adding content that doesn't get used in the long run. Case in point with the invasions, you know, like not enough players do invasions. So I would say personally, my feedback immediately is like focus on content that's going to be relevant for the long time rather than just like in a temporary slot. We already have seasonal content, like with the Winter Runeforge and the Hatchery, and still not enough people do those. So you need to make all the content as relevant as possible, in my opinion. That's the focus. This is good, though. Man, this is a good video. I'm scared. Is there going to be a rug pull at the end? They say, and all of this is coming in 2026. Like, this has been almost too good to be true so far.
Yeah, I love that. Like even something like Capture the Flag. One season maybe we try it with mounts, the next season without. Like there's ways you can sort of like keep it fresh and interesting.
Yeah, it increases variety, and then it also kind of keeps the number of modes maintainable, so that we don't split up matchmaking too much and stuff like that. For sure.
Exactly. Yeah, like every new queue that we add like splits our player base, so we want to avoid that.
Yeah. True.
And then we've talked a lot about modes and how like they sit really well next to our open world.
Thank you, Benevolence.
Like the open world and the persistent new world experience is super important, and that's where we're looking at all kinds of stuff, like QOL things.
Yeah, like one that I know we're thinking about is storage, right? Like how many times have you been crafting and you're like, you know, where is this material? Or you're
all the time, Dave.
You're about ready to run a mutation in. You need a special piece of gear, right? So like if storage was much more global, what would that be like?
Still filterable. You want to be able to make sure you can find those things or sort it in a way that's meaningful to you, but not have to chase it down every time you want to do an action like crafting and other places like that, right? Pull it out.
Yeah, this is one where we have to kind of solve like more edge cases than you think of. There's tech, but I mean, we definitely want to do it and get it out there.
Cool. Good.
Similar to most.
Also, storage, putting names on your storage chest. We've been talking about that for a while. That'd be nice if you could sort your, like give storage chest to your name, give names to your storage chest. We would like that, I think, so you can rename them to different things. Benevolence, once again, thanks for the gifted sub. Thank you, man.
It's also one of the pieces of endgame content that we love, but we want to try to improve upon is wars.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. So
Here we
I
go.
bet that the majority of the player base has not experienced a war because it is very exclusive content, but it is so good. It's so fun. So our goal is to provide a way for the rest of the players to try it out, right? So the thought is that we would do some kind of like private war system or like a pickup war where any company can challenge another company to a war.
Yes.
So that's just a way of like, bringing war to the masses.
I love it, right? Because there's so much that war relies on right now. Like, it's so important that people don't want to take risks. But if you make it something that like any two companies can set it up, you don't even have to be in a company. Maybe just any 50 people can get together.
Yeah, just practice.
It allows people to try new
experience.
builds. It allows people to try.
You could even put like a wager on it or something as well. If you want to have some stakes, I think it's good. People who are like already in wars or whatever, or people who don't care for wars, and but I think generally just to make war content like a little bit more accessible. Again, I feel like every type of game mode should be playable by every type of player. And it just needs to cater up and down, So like even the Hive of Gorgons should be doable by casuals, but in a casual setting. And then for the hardcore players, they can do the more hardcore version of it. Yeah, we could do Second Breakfast Club versus Darren Snack again. Blaze, thank you for the Prime sub. This is an important change. I do think this is good.
New people rather than slot the exact
Yes.
same people in every time. I think it's great.
Also, we could set up like some silly fights for like the stream as well, chat. We could do like a full naked war or whatever. It could be good fun.
Great.
Yeah, it's a place right now where you can't really slot somebody unless you have no way to vet them or audition them. And then, like you said, just more people being able to experience it at all. So we've heard from a lot of you, and we completely agree that the start game for a new world is now better than it's ever been.
Yes.
The mid game is feeling good. It's really when you get to the end game and the kind of like systems and dailies take over. That's where we think we can double down and make things start to really click and awesome.
Fantastic.
We've all got thoughts on this, but Joel, why don't you begin?
Yeah,
Let's see
absolutely. So first I want to say we hear you and we understand that a lot of the older content, we really want to refresh that. We want to make it feel like you can go back to Reek Water and have impact. You can go back to really crafting high-end gear, finding unique things from crafting. In an earlier segment, we talked a little bit about how we're improving item crafting from mutated dungeons. We really want to take that to another level across the board. One example would be looking at reputation systems for some of the zones and being able to build up and kind of have a reason to go somewhere you might not normally go, build up, get better rewards, have reasons to go craft there, have reasons to go do, different gameplay elements such as ECRs, such as questing, potentially new gameplay activities in some of those areas, new collections. We're really trying to push kind of play how you want to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of that's like making rewards that you care about, right?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
So it's like in the past we've had just like this gear score chase, and then you get the perks you want, and then you're kind of done, right? Like, but we're talking about having a larger variety of perks that are like more of a horizontal progression, like something the combat team's been talking about actually is like we have like one unique perk per ability, but there's nothing to stop us from making like 10 unique perks per ability, right? Like, and having just a lot of variety and like changing up your gameplay. That
Like
kind
a
of
sacred
more
guy
like a
that
horizontal
slows
thing.
enemies.
And
or
then
something.
taking that a step further and potentially putting those perks in unique places. So I have to go to this dungeon or Reek Water or this zone to be able to get those perks. And also making those perks have more of an impact in different game modes and different areas of the game as well will really help flesh some of this out. Really make crafting meaningful is something that I'm personally passionate about. I love to go gather, click rocks, whatever you want to say in the game. That's my jam. I love doing those type of things. You'll
lot
find
of
me
people like
gathering
that
more
too.
often than not. But I really want to make sure that crafting has that meaty impact that we had previously. You're able to craft some of the best gear, and it has a reason and a purpose is one of the biggest goals we have for this. Beyond that, really making sure that you can kind of play the way you want and go to the zones that you want or the modes that you want, and making sure that those rewards are meaningful, not just go to the raid, not just go to Sandworm, and not just go get golden coconuts and other things like that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think
It's man. That's speaking. They're speaking the good things, chat. They're saying the good stuff. I mean, ideally, every sort of content in the end game is relevant for what you want to do. You obviously want to make like the challenging content, give good rewards or whatever. But it's sounding good, man. I think it's sounding good.
That's the best summaries. Like, play the way you want and always feel like you're making an impact, like you're progressing in some way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. And there's so many ways we can do that. I love the idea of the reputation systems because it's like a new level of meta progression. And I think there's some neat ways we could do that versus just a very grindy way, make it more quest oriented or something, like where you feel like you're unlocking powers in a zone. You know, I think there's cool ideas there.
And this is another place where seasonal worlds kind of help us experiment and try out new systems. Look for more of that.
Yeah, I think if we can get this end game ripping, like we have the sort of the early and middle game, I think that's the sort of the last piece, like you said, that could really sort of keep people playing and excited.
And like, it's going to take a lot of work. Like, we have a lot of ideas and a lot of things that we want to do, which is why you'll see on our living roadmap that we have improvements to things and then overhauls to things. And one is for midterm, one is for long term, which maybe this feels like a good place to now start talking about long term. All right, now we're joined at the table by Kurt, our lead designer for world content. And we're going to talk about the third category on our document, which is in exploration.
All right, this is the really wild stuff, chat. This is the long-term future of New World. Hopefully there's some poggers things in here. What's like a super exciting thing I want to see? Something to do with a dragon. I don't know. Put a dragon in the game. Here we go.
We want to share our early...
Here we go. New weapons, ranked PvP, new raid, procedural expeditions with extraction. What? Raid difficulty levels, cool. New PvE modes, territory system overhaul, new exploration collection system, influence tower claim siege system with building, holy flip. Endgame reward and systems overhaul, zone up levels, new zone, new trade skills, company hall with storage, POG, all instance content available in matchmaking. Dude, the siege system with building sounds pretty wild. What do I want to say, like, focus the most on out of those? Ranked PvP. Again, it's going to depend how many players we have. Sounds pretty exciting. New raid and raid difficulty levels. Yeah, the company storage thing, we've been asking for that for a long time. All instance content available in matchmaking. That should be also, I think everything instance Worm should be, like, it has different levels of it, but this is good. This is looking good.
Thinking and what we have in store for sometime in the future. As we said earlier, we're all in on endgame right now.
Nice.
We want to make replayable content. We want to make more things to chase, more frequent content updates. And some of the things we're thinking about are, we'll start with kind of our known things like new weapons, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. So nothing to announce on specifics here, but we are in development on our next weapon, and we actually are going to be prototyping multiple weapons, and they'll be coming out at a more regular cadence in the future.
Yep.
Okay.
And then zone up levels and new zones. So Kurt, you worked on the Cutlass Keys up level, for example.
That's right. Cutlass Keys was an experiment in what it would be like to create a max level replayable zone in New World. As many of you know, the questing system and level up experience looks a lot different than it did when it first launched. And as part of that streamlined process to make it level up as immersive and fun as it could be, there are parts of the game that kind of got left out of that streamlined leveling quest line that we did. So we're looking at taking some of those zones that are no longer part of the level up experience and repurposing them into max level
like
explorable play spaces. And so one of the things that we're currently working on is a Reekwater up level to refresh Reekwater for max level players.
Isn't Reekwater a max level zone? What? Is it not?
And bring new elements of progression and gameplay to the zone.
I think one of the things I'm most excited about that is some of the collection elements that I've seen from your team that you guys are really investing in. I'm a player that really likes to go exploring. I like a little bit of PvP, and getting me out into the world to just kind of emergently discover what's there or go out and look for these things to collect is something that's my jam. I really enjoy that, so I'm excited to see what happens with these.
Yeah, the idea with Reekwater is that we want to try and create more of an open world experience than an on-rails quested experience.
Yeah. There's so much content in the game, actually, that players don't really have a reason to explore because they hit max level, and there's like no reason to go back to this zone. That so like this is awesome. Like
and this in conjunction with some of the stuff that we've already talked about, like a reputation framework. These are going to be great systems to use going forward to make our end game content more replayable for players.
Yeah, and there's more even than what's on what we're publishing and talking about today. But yeah, like take all the content, give you reasons not just to go to it, maybe even for the first time, but again and again and again. And I'm very excited about how we're kind of approaching doing our up levels as building the pieces to eventually culminate in that new zone when that does finally come out. New World is always meant to be a sand park, and we started out all sand long ago, back in the alpha days.
Yeah.
And we've got our park nice and built, and I think where we're at now, we need to kind of find that right balance between sand and park. And that means bringing more sandbox. Like, we have the systems in place, so like when you see us say things like influence tower, claim siege system, territory overhaul, these are things that players have been asking for, and I think everybody's got a different idea of what to do. But to me, like, I would even conceptually say that company hall ties with that, because like these are
thank
things.
You so much for the prime sub, dude.
We need a way to feel like you have a home in the game, that you're doing some kind of a base building loop, and that's what the territory system is meant to be. But it's just, I think we can
that
get
you and your
there.
friends, that you and your company have goals to be able to build up and activities to do together, and feel like you're making meaningful progression and
yeah, we've been saying like the town board mission, there should be like a company board mission and a company house and like doing company stuff all together. Yeah, they should be that. As we really need that. I can't pause ads anymore. I've already paused them 3 times, guys. They're gonna have to play now. I'm really sorry. Twitch forces them after 3 pauses.
Impact on what those things are. Again, together you're building up, and I think that's a big thing. I love those company style guild halls and other things that you can build in other games, and I'm excited to see what we do there. I think that's something I'm personally going to enjoy a lot.
Absolutely. Also, like, making it more than just like the top companies on the server get to participate. Like, it's more like, anyone can start a company, build something, like they have a little slice of the world that they own. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sounds pretty hype.
I think it's also worth mentioning that we're not just focused on overhauling or revamping existing locations and systems, but we are ideating on new locations in the world that we can add to New World to progress the narrative and expand the world in new, exciting ways as well.
Early looks on some of the new areas and raid style stuff that we're prototyping, I'm so excited for. They're just so cool looking.
Raids.
Some of the coolest
I really like
assets
Hive
I've
of
seen, so I'm
Gorgons. I
excited
like
to see players
Hive
get
of
those
Gorgons a
things.
lot. More Hive of Gorgons.
Well, we won't go into any more details than that, although there were no details at all. But we won't talk anymore about some of the ideas. But the big takeaway is, like, we're excited. We hear the players. New World is a wonderful world to just hang out in and play in, and we just need reasons to do that more and ways to go deeper. That's what we're looking at.
All right, man. There's the graphic then. Here it is, chat. That's the full shebang right there. So this is coming next month. No, 2 months from now. Yeah, 15th of January, we get this stuff. So we get the seasonal servers. Every 3 months, there's going to be a brand new world with a mutation sort of aspect to it. So the first one is going to be a PvP always-on server, which is going to be pretty wild. New Outpost Rush map preview. So it's not the full map yet. I guess it's going to be like Season 8. But we get to preview the new Outpost Rush map. New Daily Soul Trials, mutated M3 rework to give you better rewards, 725. Combat balance, they didn't really get specifics. Looks like we get an Artifact Rapier, Artifact Lifestaff, Artifact Void Gauntlet, God, Artifact Ice Gauntlet, Artifact Firestaff, Artifact Musket. Pretty much all the ranged and magical weapons they seem to be covering. But no new melee weapons for artifacts from what we can tell. There's some pretty cool stuff. What does this say? In development, initiatives are being actively worked on with details and timelines to be determined in exploration. Ideas are early stage and are being explored but not guaranteed. This document does not include everything we are working on and is subject to change. Cool. Well, we asked for a roadmap and there it is. At least it's something, chat. Is that it till the end of the video? Oh, no.
Wow, that was a lot of information. Thank you to all of the folks, Dan, you and the group, for sharing all that information. Really appreciate it. I don't know about you all, but I think I found it all exciting. If I had to pick one thing, though, I think the seasonal servers are just going to change the way people play the game, and I think that's awesome. Really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's the OPR map. I've been waiting a while. I'm excited to bring something out for players.
Dave.
I think they're going to like it.
I'm just excited to go home and ride my turkey mount.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
My goodness. Yeah, we talked a lot about like what's coming next and things that we're thinking of for the future. But there is something that's coming up that we haven't talked about, which is free trials. So this is something that's on console.
Interesting.
And so if you have friends or family who've been wanting to try out New World Aeternum,
Only on console.
this is a really great opportunity for them to hop in and try it out for free. So look for more details on that on the site.
And beyond that,
I mean, I feel like everything that they've talked about, I've been saying on the stream chat. I've been saying there should be a free trial of New World to test it out. There should be like playable wars with like pug wars. There should be company housing. There should be, I don't know how that's gonna work with like bots and gold farmers and stuff, but interesting.
the one thing I really want to do is just a big thank you, heartfelt thank you. Like, the team put their heart and soul into making New World Aeternum, and when you see so many people come in and play and experience it and have a good time, it makes it all worth it. Feels really good. So, like, on behalf of the entire team, thank you to all the players. Like we couldn't be more appreciative. And with that, we will see you in Aeternum.
See you in 5 months for the next one. Hopefully, can you do them a little bit more often than every 5 months? No, it was only 4 months, right, chat? It was only June for the last one. Hey, that was a pretty good video. Generally like that a lot. Again, for some of you guys who are watching on, you're fairly new to New World Aeternum, especially for Xbox and PS5 players, you may not understand like the history that is New World, and also like, oh, is this really important? Because I'm really enjoying the game right now, and don't feel guilty for that. Like, again, like New World from a new player's perspective, it's a really, really good game. There's easily like several hundred hours of fun, but the fun does sort of dry up a bit as you move into like deep into the end game. So to see an emphasis on the end game, it's important for me. I think it's important for a lot of the player base. I feel like they did address quite a few things that we're concerned about there. We'll just have to see if they can deliver. They used to do these things called PTR, which was like a public test server. Whether they're going to keep doing that, well, it remains to be seen. I don't know how that will work with console, but we'll keep an eye on that and future updates here on the YouTube channel. As always, you can click that subscribe button if you want to see more New World Aeternum content, friends. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I'll put a link to the dev video in the description down below if you want to go watch that again. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Catch you guys all in the next video.